Hello, everybody. I typically do these oracle reads on Fridays, but this time around I'm doing it today. And I tuned in to what the topic would be today, and I got thinning veils. So I'm just going to tune in and bring through a pre-reading message to see where this is going to go today. We're going to tune in and see. So what I'm getting is that this is a time on the planet where we have a mass awakening underway. We have a lot of things going on in our solar system. The sun is in solar maximum. We have many comets. We have the thinning of the veils. Now, the thinning of the veils, this occurs every year around this time of year. And we'll continue to see further thinning through the last few months of the year. And what this means is anything that we've created in our consciousness to block us or potentially muffle the spiritual messages, the higher consciousness, higher mind, superconscious connections that we all have, they're going to be more pronounced. So I'm just doing this oracle read to give us some cushioning around us, around this, to help us to understand what is shifting for us as a human collective. And I'm already getting the first card. So I'm going to leave that there for a second. And then the two decks I'm using today are the Work Your Light Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. The artwork is Danielle Noel. And hello everyone joining. And the other deck I'm going to be using is the Soul Journey by James Van Praagh. So I'm feeling that these two decks are going to... I'm getting a message on that. So the Work Your Light Oracle is going to be a little bit more about how we are to anchor light here on the planet. Yeah, that's going to be sort of more of the action, I will say. And then the Soul Journey is going to be a lot more about what we're revealing deeply within ourselves. So the first card that we received, oh boy, Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? So this is a message that's been coming through quite a bit in the last few months, which is many of us are reparenting ourselves at this time. And that doesn't mean that, let's say, your parents did anything wrong. It just means that now that the veils are so thin, hi Mandy, now that the veils are so thin, we're going to start to see ways that we, maybe growing up, didn't receive what we really needed in the moment. And so we're just being invited to, starting out with this mother energy, how can you re-mother yourself in a way that is nurturing and in a way that is unconditionally loving? And how can you accept yourself and stop the maybe temptation, I will call it, to be like everyone else and fit in? And all of you that are here, you're here for a reason. Oh, cool. Did someone just send me like a galaxy? That's so cool. Thanks, Shane. Never received a galaxy before. This is a very big day. But what we're being asked to do right now, as these veils are thin, is really tune into our deepest calling. I'm glad that you found this too. So as the veil is thin, as you're seeing things that maybe have been muffled over the years, you're being asked to really go within and check in there. You know, what do I need? What experiences am I longing for? And some of the things that come up while the veils are thin for you, when you tune into that, what is my highest excitement? What is going to help me feel connected today? What is going to help me feel soulfully embodied today? It might be things that you are not used to because the veils are thin. So that might be something that is outside of your norm. And Spirit is nudging me to say to all of you that whatever that is, highest excitement, and it's outside your norm or outside your comfort zone, do it. Do it. It's time to do it. Okay, and the next card, and this time we're getting from the Soul Journey deck 7. Service. I feel good when I can help others. I feel really good on this oracle reading with all of you. So, getting the Star Mother card and then the Service card. A lot of you here, there's 12 of you here right now. I would say all of you here. Yeah, everyone here. You're being really initiated right now into your service. And what Spirit is wanting me to inform you of is that we're shifting our concept of what service is right now on the planet. Meaning, whatever you're doing that is a service act of sorts, you're being inspired and reminded that this should also serve you. So you're being encouraged right now to see the opportunities, the pathways, the people maybe, the invitations maybe, where you're being asked to serve and it feels exciting. Thank you, Thomas. Because we're getting away from, we're shifting our definition of service and leadership. So we're shifting from this concept of, this is channeling on in for some of you, maybe not all of you. And everything that I do share, make sure you're checking your heart and seeing, does this resonate? And if it doesn't, just let it go. Let it float on by. But the old, I'll call it, I'm going to use 3D and 5D terminology in this session, just because it's the closest to what I want to convey. So the 3D definition of service was sacrifice. Yeah, do lots of past life regressions. It's the time to do it because we're converging timelines. So now is the time to really remedy, to really heal, to really see and allow. And so this old version of service was sacrifice. This old version of service was, I've done something wrong and I have to make up for it. The old version of service was, I have to prove myself. The old version of service was that you want to, and many of you, if this resonates, you want to prove yourself to God, to Source, to Creator, that you're worthy. And what this new service is very different. So this new definition of service is when I serve the collective, I also serve myself. I serve all. This new version of service is when I love myself fully and then overflow that love to others. That's the true service. And so some of you are needing this nudge, I'll call it, to realize that this service is not about you having to gain anything. This is about you overflowing. This service is not being asked of you for times that you feel overwhelmed or that you feel things are extremely hard. In fact, Spirit is kind of giving me this little, it's like I'm getting like hands up, like you must say this, which is if you are not feeling full, if your tank is not full, you're not serving. So don't try to force it, grunt it, old way of doing it. Because it's just not going to work. That's not going to work anymore in this paradigm. This paradigm is all about true unconditional love. And that always needs to start with ourselves. So, okay, and then the other little message with this card is that know that when you are filling your tank, know that when you're practicing self-care, know that when you are learning to trust yourself again and accept yourself again, you're not just serving you. You're serving everyone. Hi, David. Yeah, happiness. So the last message with this card is those outside of you that you want to help. Those outside of you that maybe you see are drowning or suffering or maybe they're stuck in a loop, the same loop they've been in for many years, decades perhaps. We're being reminded we don't help them by going to them with our empty tank and trying to make them happier or them better. You know, that's the old service model, which depletes you. Yeah. So Mimi's sharing, I love helping people, but I can't consistently be the lifeline. Exactly. So that's codependency. And we're getting away from codependency. If you feel that you're the lifeline, let's say, to anyone in your life, you're being asked to check in with yourself. Are you capable of that? Are you fulfilled enough for that? Do you have what you need first to do that, to be that lifeline? And if the answer is no, that's where to place your focus, is how do I become so in love with life, the moment, the present moment, with spirit, with my surroundings, with the gifts of life. How can I put my focus there to get myself overflowing? And then if you want to go be that lifeline, go be that lifeline. But for those of you that are being the lifeline to people that you are seeing as draining you, or that are draining you, or that are depleting you, check within your heart, is that really serving the greater good right now? And maybe the answer is yes. I don't know. That's not up to me. That's up to you and your heart and what you're being guided to. Okay, we're getting the next card. Let's see. We'll work your light. 6. And then those of you that are new, I think I've got some regulars here, which I love. It feels so juicy. But those of you that are new, I get my oracle reading comes through typically with numerology. So I get a number and I count the card out. So we're getting Keepers of the Earth. You are not alone. Some of you really need to hear that a lot of times. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. Especially those that are Maybe you feel like you're the lifeline and you don't have one of your own, a lifeline of your own, let's say, another being on the planet that revs your engines and gets you feeling excited about earthing. So this is important here. So we're seeing this image, and you see this a lot on this in this deck, but okay, let's just say that's you down here. And you're being reminded that you have higher aspects of you. Your oversoul, maybe in your oversoul you're an elder of the earth. Maybe in your oversoul you're, me too, maybe. Maybe in your oversoul you are an angel. Maybe in your oversoul you are in another star system. Maybe in your oversoul you're able to access the parts of you, the aspects of you, the expressions of you that were living in Lemuria on the planet. For some of you. But remember that being a keeper of the earth doesn't mean it's a burden. Those who take on the contract, it's a contract, it is. To the fulfillment is knowing I am making a positive impact. Yes, but it must come from you first. That fulfillment must begin in you. The fulfillment must come from a place of Lemuria is very present in this transmission. And let me tell you about Lemuria. We were all telepathic. We didn't so much need language to speak to one another because we could all read one another. We used sound for singing, for feeling the vibration of our soul within our vessel. We used the voice for creating beauty and art. We used the voice for... We still can. Yep, Mystic Mama. So it feels that the keepers of the earth in this transmission are transmitting to us that we're shifting not only the way we serve, but the way we use our voice. So we're shifting having to use our voice for communication in the old format that we called it. And we're using our voice now for healing, for celebrating, for expressing our soul's essence and our authenticity. And I'm seeing some of you are having some inner child wounds healed around the throat and the voice. And so if this resonates for you, was there a time earlier in life where you were told not to use your voice? Was there a time earlier in life where you were maybe labeled for your voice? So for those of you that's true, can you let out some humming right now? Some singing? Maybe it's even yelling. Maybe it's rah! Your voice is your soul's expression here. So if you ever needed to use your voice before just to keep safe or just to be heard, let's activate the part of your voice that's deeper than that. Let's activate the part of your voice that was before that wounding. And then some of you that are healing that, maybe allow yourself to, within your consciousness, go as deep within your throat right now as you can, deep, deep to the soulful, loving truth of you. Deeper and deeper still. And allow yourself to vocalize. Yeah, the animals always get involved in the readings. They love it, you know? They really do. So yes, some of you that are healing your voice, maybe hum, hum. It might feel silly to you. Let it out anyway. Use your voice. And use your voice knowing that that's your soul. Thank you, keepers of the earth. Ancient ancestors are standing beside this pyramid. Standing beside us. And then the other message I'm getting as I round this part out, this is the spirit guides. So a lot of you are working with your spirit guides. So take this if it resonates. Leave it if it doesn't, because it's coming through from your spirit guides. But your spirit guides, some of you are conceptualizing them as in a hierarchical sense. So some of you are seeing your spirit guides as above you. I mean, can this be true potentially? Yeah, I guess. But they're not above you in a hierarchical sense. Your spirit guides are there to walk beside you. Your spirit guides are there to remind you that you're them and that everything they're doing for you, you can do for yourself. So a true spirit guide is going to empower you. And a true spirit guide is going to help you feel acceptance for yourself. And a true spirit guide is going to, this is another one that comes through a lot in my sessions. But your spirit guides might ask you more questions than telling you direction. And that's the most magical time of working with your spirit guides, because that is you realizing your power. And they're helping you to do that. And they just really want you to know that they're not better than you. They are not even more powerful than you. In fact, one of the things that the archangels will often transmit through me when I'm channeling them is that they see us in this light that is so in awe, truly. Because the spirit guides oftentimes are in a purely etheric form, a purely light form, meaning they don't have these physical bodies. They don't have other beings around them that are maybe trapped in an illusion. That's not something they have to encounter. And they see us as we encounter this. No, returning to our truth, our love, our eternal soul, and then having to make peace, I will say, with those of us around us that are in an illusion. Can you tell me what's this stuck feeling I have? What comes up for you about the stuck feeling? Is there a person? Is there a quality? Is there a color, a texture, a sensation, a memory? Is any of that resonating for you, Thomas? And what the spirit guides want us to know about blocks, about stuckness, about what we're perceiving is in the way of our full eminence, our full shine, our full love, our full presence. All of that is a perception. So it's not so much about let's find the block and destroy the block. It's more so, how can I have a new perception of this aspect within my life that I am perceiving as a block? Our fears. But the thing about blocks and the thing about fears is that they become a problem when we repress them, when we ignore them. I feel you, Thomas. If you can't come up with anything right now, it's not meant to be come up with right now. Let yourself sit with the energy. Know that we don't shift any energy from force. We shift energy from allowance and acceptance. So again, whatever is coming up as a block, you're being reminded by your higher self now. How can you change your perception of that block? How can you see that block in a new light? How can you soften around that block? Because when you soften, it loosens and lets go. But if we repress it, if we push it down, if we ignore it, if we run from it, it compounds. So that's why we've got very, I will call it polarizing aspects of our healing processes. Sometimes we're in the shadow work. Sometimes we're doing the trauma work. Sometimes we're digging out those repressed memories. And sometimes we're expanding into new embodiments and aspects of ourselves that we have turned off the perspective of, turned off the sight of, blocked ourselves from. Okay, getting a soul journey card. How's everyone doing? How is everyone feeling? Is anything feeling a little bit, you need a little bit of clarity around in the message? Anything coming up? If so, just let me know. And if I missed the comment somehow along the way, just repeat it so I see it. Cool. I'm glad you're great, and I'm glad that this is resonating. I'm very good today. It's a lot of energy coming in, and it's starting to stabilize, which is cool. Even though life wasn't perfect, I didn't feel anything until I went on this journey, and now it's like, And perfect. The guides are wanting me to speak to perfect, and the card we got is love. Oh, good. Oh, cool. Okay, I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. So yeah, this is really echoing the message so far. So, perfect was the word I wanted to come to. Yeah, we got a lot of perfectionists here. Recovering perfectionist myself, hello. We're being reminded that the word perfect is going to be defined differently by every single human on the planet right now. So you go to one person, you're going to say, what's perfect? They're going to say, blah, 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 blah. It's yellow. It's when I'm on the beach. And then you go to another person, you say, what's perfect? And they're going to say, a Lamborghini. I don't know. Everyone's going to have a different definition of perfect. So if you resonate with being a perfectionist, it really is time for you to shift around that to maybe realize that this concept, definition, structure of perfect, of perfection, it might have been formed in part by some wounding to protect you against what it would be to not be perfect. And the card, I'm going to go to the love card now and let this one transmit a bit. Check again. So I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. And this starts with you. So it starts with you turning your gaze within and seeing what you see, seeing the resistances, seeing the blocks, seeing what we called flawed, the fawning response. So we soften around the fawning response by realizing that that's an innocent response. And if the fawning is coming through for you, yes, this is just for those that resonate with the fawning response. That was likely in the first 7 years of your life that response was created, because in our childlike essence, in our youthful essence, in our pure soul essence, We're divine. And then you come to a planet like Earth, and you're going to see some things that maybe you don't label as divine. And that might create the fawning response. So what I'm being nudged to ask you all is, it feels really important that we talk about the childhood aspect of ourself. So in your childhood, and whatever first comes up for you, what age did you start letting go of your magic because you thought it was a fearful thing? And then whatever first comes up for you, it's time to sit with that version of you. So maybe it's that 3-year-old version of you. Maybe it's that 7-year-old version of you, that 14-year-old version of you, that 5-year-old version of you, that 4-year-old version of you. How can you sit with that 7-year-old version of you? How do you sit with that version of you at 3? What does that version of you need? Maybe they need a hug. Maybe they need to be told that they're accepted. Maybe they need to be told that fitting in isn't everything. Maybe they need to be told that they're safe and that they're normal. Maybe they need to be told that they are perfect, exactly as they are. Not when they fit in, not when they get an A in school, not when they get a sticker on their homework, not when they get approval from mom or dad or a caregiver, but exactly as they are right now, right in that moment, maybe when they're feeling their darkest and they're feeling scared. Because once we can accept the parts of us that are scared, the parts of us that are wounded, the parts of us that are being labeled as flawed or different or strange or weird. And I'm sharing this with you as a person that's been called weird and strange and lots of different names my whole life. But it took me, getting close to 40 to realize that those weird, strange, quirky aspects are my magic. And it's the same for you. Those parts of ourselves that were shining bright and then misperceived by someone outside of us, we're reawakening that. And we're telling it, come back on in. Come back in. And I'm not doing any co-hosting today. I have yet to go down the ventured path of channeling with a stranger, and I probably won't. Yeah. Okay, so the love card, I feel like we've gotten what we need from the love card. But some of you just need to say right now, I love myself, and put your hand on your heart, and I love myself. We can all do it together. You are not weird for doing it. I love myself exactly as I am. I love my flaws. I love my quirks. I love my weirdness. I love my differentness. I love when I'm clumsy. I love when I make mistakes because I get to learn. I love when I trip and fall because then I can get back up and show myself I can. I love when I fail because I'm learning. I love when someone judges me because it reminds me that everyone out there sometimes judges themselves, and we can all shift that. Is that all from this card? Yes. Okay, let me just realign and tune in to see here. So I'm going to ask you all a question, and I just want you to give me what you first come up with. The aspect of yourself that you're denying, the aspect of yourself you're rejecting, the aspect of yourself you're judging, the aspect of yourself you're capping, the aspect of yourself you're keeping small or you're shoving off. Is this feminine or masculine? And the first thing that comes up is going to indicate to you the energy within yourself that you are muffling. And then anyone brave enough, masculine. So the next question would be, why? And the question after that would be, what can I do today to love the masculine aspect of myself, the feminine aspect of myself? What can I do today to remind myself that masculine energy is divine? What can I do today to remind myself the feminine energy is divine? Lucky you, Thomas. And everyone else that also grew up with men all around them. Because, okay, so Mimi brought up masculine and anger. So there's also anger and feminine. These are the wounded aspects of our masculine and feminine. So I would say the divine counterpart of masculine energy that is angry is masculine energy that is accepting. So the masculine energy that is so content with what it is that nothing angers it or puts it in fear. And yep, I keep hearing, I just wanted to protect you. These aspects of ourself that we call blocks, or I don't know, are sticky points, we'll call it. It's an aspect of the mind, the ego, that learned that's a protection. So the part of yourself that started maybe capping the masculine energy because you perceived it as angry, in your mind, you thought that would protect you. And the same with the feminine. So if feminine came up for you, why? What about this feminine energy are you perceiving as a negative quality? And then how can you flip the script on that? So so for me, for the feminine, because I was very much predominantly in my masculine energy for a lot of my life in the corporate world. I was excellent in the corporate world, and every corporation wanted me because I worked hard as heck. And in fact, this came up the other day, I'll share it with you all vulnerably. I had a wake-up call in the corporate world because I realized everyone I worked with all called me the same thing. Do you want to know what they called me? Anyone know? Any psychics here? They all called me a machine. And I got called it so many times that I went, oh shit. I am literally just cranking out so much work like a machine every single day for like 10 hours a day. I don't really know if I want to be a machine. That doesn't really feel like a compliment to me. But it made me wake up to my feminine energy. And my feminine energy is in flow. My feminine energy dances and paints. My feminine energy is soft and nurturing. And I started letting that feminine energy back in. And then I had to heal my energy, my masculine energy, To have it not just be hustle culture, but be, I'm building a business that's going to serve the world. I'm going to build the structures and the pathways and the service models and the necessary tools and structure for me to allow my feminine energy and my masculine energy to swim together and help each other and not be this against this, but be working together. Thank you for all these beautiful, beautiful energies, gifts, shares. I can feel you all. So Maddie Ice, what most call the Star of David and all that goes with it is in me, my eye, and I'm afraid to talk. Okay, so what I'm getting on this share, and it has to do with Kundalini. So we have this, triangle of our being that is facing up, spinning up towards the divine, I'll call it. Then we have the triangle that's facing down towards the earth, I will call it. Our masculine and feminine energies, although I wouldn't say one is up or down. We're allowing ourselves to be the infinite, eternal, divine soul that is flowing into the earth plane. So when you activate Kundalini, let's say, and for those of you that are here, who here has activated Kundalini or knows about their Kundalini energies? And if it's new, it's time to activate it. Through some Kundalini yoga, perhaps, through some breath work. You're going to shed some blocks in your system with your Kundalini energy. Because your Kundalini energy is going to move up the system, start to intertwine, hello Jared, around these chakras, and it's going to blast away anything that's not you. And when you activate Kundalini, a lot changes. Then it's meant for you, Mimi. It's time to explore that. Yeah, it's the DNA. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot I could go into about a lot of this, including like some coding that goes on in the Bible and some other religious texts, but a lot of this, the DNA. When you activate Kundalini, any of those blocks we talked about earlier, they're going to get released. And sometimes that can be scary. I will be honest with you, because you're going to see things that were repressed, buried, stuck around those chakras, maybe blocking your feeling around the heart, your love, your self-love. It doesn't just blast it away. You have to do the work. It will bring up a lot of issues. For sure. Yeah, it's not just a one and done. Abso-freaking-lutely. Everyone activates Kundalini very differently, and it's going to happen for everyone in their divine timing. Mine was activated through Kundalini yoga, but I'm trying to remember the gentleman's. Okay. XX Alchemist XX brought up a really good concept, a really good topic, which is that when you activate Kundalini, it's going to also initiate you, welcome you into some shadow work. So it's not just going to be a one and done. You're going to have to look at some things. And sometimes that might be uncomfortable. Sometimes that might be hard. But it's a darkest before the dawn scenario. So whenever you're in it, say you're feeling it, maybe you're feeling the betrayal, you're feeling the rejection, you're feeling the somatics. Yes, absolutely. Somatics are a part of this for sure. Because it's not so much you getting glued to maybe I was wounded at 3, or it was this occurrence, or it's this lesson I was taught, or this church, or this whatever. It's not so much about that. It's about inviting everything back into unconditional love. And also noticing the areas with which we have created a mental block around ourself and our expression and our embodiment. Alchemy, it's all about alchemy. It really is. It's about turning the mess into the message. It's about turning the wound into the healing of anyone else that has that similar wound. Oh, how do you go through it with little kids? That's what I worry about balancing. I have kids as well. I've got 2 kids. They're in school now, so they're not super little anymore. But here's what I will tell you about parenting. It is going to wake you up to every aspect of yourself that you are going to need to reparent. So it's going to wake you up to, and then another thing that's coming in from Spirit and the Spirit Guides, maybe yours, Brittany. Sorry, didn't mean to blow into the microphone. But, okay, let me just bring this in. Whatever age your kids are at, if it feels triggering or strifeful or hard, it's potential that, So it's potential that you are healing the version of you that is in that age. So if your child is 2 and they're just driving you up a wall and they're driving you crazy, it might be because there's a 2-year-old version of you that's like knocking on your door again and wanting to come back out and play. So 7, 5, and 3. Cool. Well, I have a 7 and 5-year-old, and it's good ages, but when my kids were like 4 and 3, that was really a hard time for me because I had a lot of wounds around that time. That was really when I was coming, I was dancing a lot, I was singing a lot, I wanted to be a performer, and I really started to, muffle that. So what I did when my kids were 3 and 4 was I invited myself to play with them, like actually play with them like I was a kid. And it was very healing. I started coloring. Like, actually, I had coloring books, and I was coloring, like, every day a few years ago. And it was deeply healing for me. And I couldn't explain it, let's say, like in words, but it was very healing. And I painted, and I danced, and I started singing again. And I felt like a really, really, really big weirdo, and it felt so good. Okay, and we're getting another card from the Soul Journey deck. Anyone know how long I've been going here? Is there a way I can find out on here? No? I'll go for a little bit longer because this is fun and you guys are wonderful. 6 and 7. And pull the 7th first. Okay. Sorry, not doing any collabs today. Just me and the Spirit Guides. Okay. So the next message, denial. So you can feel we're weaving a little bit. We go into the play and into the shadow, into the play, into the shadow. We make dents at the blocks. Okay, so denial, I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness. So instead of taking our fears and figuring out how to protect against them or prevent them from hindering or prevent them from making us afraid, we're realizing that awareness, consciousness, bringing light to the darkness is how we're healing it. So denial is a tricky one because denial is how many of us actually build these blocks or self-doubts. self-sabotage for some of you. But once you can let go of that denial, soften around that denial, accept what is, maybe accept that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old version of you. Maybe they just need to not be denied anymore. Maybe they just need to be accepted. Maybe you don't need to go to that 3-year-old version and say what that person did to you was wrong. Maybe you can just sit with that version of you and say, I accept you. I know what you've experienced and I accept you. Because it's not about denying anything. It's not about pretending about anything. Josh, that's so sweet. He said, good morning, Bree is the light. Oh, what a reflection, Josh. We're all light. We are all light. And that's what healing work and oracle reads and energy work and going within and journaling and meditating and sitting with, that's what we're doing. We're letting go of those screens we put over us. And in fact, let me scan the group right now and see what our predominant blocked chakra is. The throat. Okay. So that came up a lot earlier in the reading. I'll post this on my YouTube. But for those of you that might have a block around your throat and your expression, what are you denying within? Is the question, Spirit loaded into the feed. You need to stop denying your inner adult too. So that's actually another one. This is a new kind of concept for me. But some of you that maybe perceived your caregivers, some parents, maybe aunts, uncles, grandparents, teachers. Some of you, this is interesting. This is actually a really, really new understanding and channeled receipt here. But whatever age those caregivers were at, maybe as you become that age, okay, yeah, this is only for some of you, but like 36, 35, is anyone here 36 or 35? I'm seeing those are the predominant ones. But when you get to that age, what I'm seeing is those individuals, whoever's coming up for you, caregivers that were that age when you were small or younger, you might actually internalize, if you judge those caregivers, you might now be judging yourself, that you're coming to those ages. That's really interesting new concept that I'm going to have to explore for myself. Because, yeah, that's for some of you to explore. Yeah. I'm not getting any more on that because it feels like some of you need to go within and figure out what that is for yourself. The light oracle. Where did I put the light oracle? Oh. Okay. What a reading. Okay, transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level. Deep healing. Okay, so this is coming in now with some ancestral energy. So some... Beautiful, Brittany. And when it comes to the inner child, do to remember that sometimes your inner child will be healing you. Sometimes it's not going to be so much about you healing them. It's going to be about them healing you. But cellular level is what's coming up for me right now. Some of you might be space weather nerd like I am. Maybe. But we're getting a lot of stuff going on in our sun. Our sun's sending out a lot of codes. visions and why they are not clear when they come. What I'm getting here, Thomas, is clairvoyance isn't just your sight. So clairvoyance might be a kind of a holistic knowing, a holistic quantum download, I'll say, where it's not so much about the way it looks, but it's about like the complete download of the vision. So if you mean actually like the vision, like when you're closing your eyes and seeing behind your third eye, if that doesn't seem clear, it's likely because there's some things that need to be changing for you at the cellular level within your physical body. Meaning more clean water, meaning less pollutants such as GMOs, chemicals, fluoride, which I know is hard for a lot of people that have trouble with teeth, but fluoride blocks the third eye. Let's see what else. Yeah, for you, Thomas, that's what it feels like it is. If you want those sharper, crisper third eye visions, it's more so about cleaning up your body and then using breath work to clear it out energetically. Yeah. And then the cellular level, we're being reminded that as we receive these light codes coming in from the sun, we're going deep into the cellular structure, meaning you have your soul that has had all of these experiences, but you also have the physical body has codes within it. So something for some of you that are really going deep into the layered aspects of your healing journey, realize that some of these things you're being exposed to, like maybe it's maybe it's lack programming, maybe it's scarcity, maybe it's, hey Bradley, maybe it's, okay. So lack, scarcity, betrayal is coming up for some of you. Kind of like, it's just this energy of like having to stay in your lane sort of feeling. But some of this in your cellular structure is involved with ancestors of yours that you are helping to heal. So when you're healing things like lack programming, you know, we in the human conceptualize it as like, oh, we're fixing our concept of this. No, it's deeper. It's actually in the cells. It's in the DNA. And I'm being shown now, for some of you that are kind of familiar with DNA, the telomeres. So the telomeres that are being lengthened within these strands to reconnect with your full DNA. So when with things like ancestral programming of lack, with things like chemicals in the food, with things like even fluoride, it's sort of taking that beautiful divine structure of our DNA and fraying it just a bit so that it's not as in flow, so that it's not as connective and whole. That's why healing is all about wholeness, bringing everything back in, oneness, unity. And it's not about the, let's say, 3D paradigm of let's search for the problem, let's constantly be looking for the problem so we can fix it. It's much more about the perception of that problem. And when you shift your perception of, let's just say, abundance, all your ancestors through the cells of your body, the guides love to call us out, don't they? Yeah, it just feels like Spirit wants us to understand that with cellular renewal and with this deep healing that we are all experiencing, whether you're doing it intentionally or not, some of it isn't going to be understood, but you allow, and you allow, and you allow. And you allow for some days the revelations are pouring through and some days they're not. You allow. And then Spirit also wants to plug here about transformation. The importance of integration, the importance of anchoring, the importance of grounding. Maybe you shift something, you have a big aha, you have a big whoa moment, and then all of a sudden you're seeing everything through a different pair of eyes. You might need a period of integration after that and rest. And it might not be so much about you bringing that transformation that you've just experienced, that you've just called in, that you've just allowed into tangible manifestation. It could be that you need to sit with that, rest with that, let that integrate in your being. I have grounding mat and bedding. So cool. How do you love it? I'm getting my grounding mat soon. I haven't used one yet. I just have been doing old school feet in the grass. But winter is coming around the corner, so with all these light codes, the more grounding tools we have, the better. I don't have my red jasper. I wanted to show you my red jasper. But also for grounding, yeah, I'm plugging this for some of you. Red crystals, black crystals, darker crystals, smoky quartz is very grounding. Red jasper, black tourmaline. Let's see some other grounding tools. Even ruby would be very grounding. Surrender to the synchronicity and flow. And the grounding shoes, cool! I feel like that was a message I needed to hear about the grounding shoes and the surrender. David. Okay. 4. So just a quick reminder on this. As you're transforming, let it anchor. You wear your ruby, Trisha. Cool. Trish. Doesn't matter which crystals. I would say with crystals, it's an intuitive process. So, like for example, this sodalite. Technically, when we're talking about like the chakras, this is really good for the third eye and the throat. But like I'm getting a message from this sodalite. This sodalite could also be used for grounding. This sodalite could also be used for elevating the clarity, the consciousness. So it's more so you intuitively allow yourself to be drawn to the crystals that are calling you. And it doesn't need to make logical sense. It's going to be a very metaphysical, very intangible exchange that you are. 1 year sobriety. Congratulations. Congratulations. I'm lifting you up. I'm celebrating you. Let's just give some claps here, everyone. Because that's beautiful and that is not an easy feat. Different rocks too. You know, it doesn't have to be a crystal. It can be a rock. It could even be, I sometimes just sit and put my hands on the cement. There's codes in there. Why? Okay, Spirit wants me to ask for why. Everything holds consciousness. So inanimate objects hold consciousness. Maybe some of you, some of you don't know, I'm also a medium. So, like Tyler Henry, I watched his stuff a little bit. I don't watch TV, but his show I like because I can feel all the Akashic record energy going on in the space, and it's just really fun for me. But one of the ways that he tunes in, Tyler Henry, is an object because that object holds consciousness. So, yeah, and then this is a message for some of you. Okay. In the space that you're in, or the space you're entering, you can bless that space throughout all time and space. So you can say, everything that happened here before, everything that's going to happen here after, I bless it, I send my love. Because everything that is here holds memory. So, and you can also tune into that remotely. So that's something that I tend to do too with people is there's things in the space and I can feel them and I can tune into them with consciousness, with remote viewing. Wasn't there a card I was going to... Oh, no, right here. Success. Huh. I know that there is no greater goal than love. So, look how pretty that art is. I've talked about this on previous readings, but a lot of us are really redefining success. And we are realizing that the 3D version of success maybe no longer applies. Maybe our new success is self-love. Maybe you can start shifting your perspective so that, oh yes. This one's from the Soul Journey, James Van Praagh. Really love this deck. This was one of my first decks that I got a few years ago. And then Work Your Light by Rebecca Campbell and Danielle Noel. But with success, every atom embodies consciousness, absolutely. So, Spirit's just wanting me to nudge all of you. I have a post-it next to my bed that says, what went well today? And this is something I do every day, and it's been honestly very helpful. But we're being asked to realize every moment where you are feeling love for yourself, every moment when you're feeling in your element, in your shine, every moment that you allow yourself to receive, for all of you overgivers out there, what if that's your new success? What if when you get to the end of your day and you're scanning the day, Bradley, are we doing this today? Should we do it? Are you able to? All right. Wait, I don't know. That just says, am I at? Bradley, do you want to go on today? You want to riff a little bit? You just let me know if you change, if that comes up. But okay, getting back to this. Yeah. Those of you that are being hard, okay, cool. Well, everyone here know that Bradley and I are going to be offering some stuff soon. For sure. Now's not the moment, but the moment will come. It's all good. Yes, but how can you, okay, if you're doing that thing that I'm doing with the Post-it, where I ask myself, well, what am I happy about today? What went great today? Instead of looking at it through your old eyes, like, oh, well, I didn't make the money I wanted to, or I didn't get the approval I wanted to, or I didn't finish it all the way, or something like that. Something to that tune. How can you scan your day a little bit more energetically to go, oh, but what about that one moment where I was really sitting in acceptance of self? You know, that went really well. Or what about that moment where I got that compliment from that person, and instead of going, oh, no, it's nothing, and batting it away, what if you actually let someone compliment you? That's a successful moment. That went well. Or some of you, maybe someone in your life was coming at you with some stuff that's really hard and used to be really triggering for you. But instead of getting triggered, you saw them with compassion. What if that's the moment we celebrate? You know, instead of the perfect end result, I'll say, of something we were trying to complete. Or maybe some of you are celebrating that you made the right decision to value yourself and your soul and your life. That's a big thing to celebrate. Okay. And I just want to share for all of you that are on places, living in geographical areas on the planet that are experiencing upheaval, that are experiencing trauma, that are experiencing danger. I'm just praying for all of you, and I'm sending God love around you in your places and spaces so that you can feel safe through the storm and feel safe through everything you're experiencing, knowing you will be guided. Some of you maybe are going to wonder to yourself, should I leave? Should I stay? What is your heart saying? Can you follow it, even though your mind is saying something different? Okay. Sometimes the channelings just come in, so I have to let them. And the last card for today, before I close this out, what a lovely experience this was. Maybe I'll do 2 this week, who knows? It's really fun. It's just, I feel all of you, and it feels like we're coming together in communities right now, and that's so needed. 2, 3, 4. Okay. We got a lot of 4s today, so that's for someone here. How do you relate to a numerology 4? And some of you might be seeing 444 at some point. Okay, so humor. The last card of the day is humor. I love that. I appreciate you too, Thomas. Thank you for being here. Okay, so I choose to focus on the lighter side of life. 444. Look at this Buddha. Oh, I love it so much. This golden Buddha. This is so interesting. And I don't know the full correct story, but has anyone heard of the golden Buddha, like under the rock, that they chipped away at the rock and found the golden Buddha beneath? Well, that's what's coming in right now for this message, because we're learning to even laugh at ourselves. We're learning to, this is kind of strange, but when I started realizing I needed more humor, I started watching like old TV that I used to think was funny, and I was like, ew, this is not even funny, this is like cruel. Like, what? Ew. But even that, like, laugh at it, laugh at it. Humor allows us, in the human form, to make levity of everything. To make levity of it. And it's not the kind of having more fun. Bringing levity. Bringing lightness. You know, and it's not about being like the class clown or the one to make everyone laugh. It's about having this gentle reverence and lighthearted nature towards life. So when you can learn to really even laugh at yourself and keeping a light heart, yeah. Exactly, Auden. It's about, you know, those denser situations. It's about softening around those denser situations and looking at the world, yes, through child's eyes. Because a child is in their essence, and they're in their purity, and they don't have all of these misconceptions and protective mechanisms and defensive mechanisms and things they're avoiding, because they're pure. They're flowing on through. And we can be that too. Yeah, comedy's important. Okay, it doesn't feel like this is the last card though. Okay, this is gonna be the last card. So to close it out today, we are getting share your voice. Oh, this is so, this is rounding. Come out of the cave, persecution, expression. So a lot of you here are being nudged by your spirit guides to share your voice. A lot of you are afraid of this. A lot of you are afraid of judgment. A lot of you are feeling interesting. So I got this, David, you brought up 0 point. So it's really, the message I'm getting is letting go of the outcome, releasing your grip around what others perceive of you, releasing your grip on how someone will receive you, loosening your grip on needing to be understood, loosening your grip on what I'm being shown is you're using your voice from your soul. You're using your voice from your heart. You're using your voice from your authenticity and your truth. And you're just like letting whatever happens following that go completely. Completely. And you're going to find yourself growing when I'm showing a lot of you, maybe you're judged, maybe you're ridiculed or you're put down, belittled, and then you have no desire to protect against that. You don't feel like that's a bad thing occurring. You don't feel like, oh, again. You're just an allowance. I think I'm getting kicked off again. Oh, no, it's back. Okay. So as you're sharing your voice and you're expressing your truth, and some of you need to hear that several times, when you're expressing your truth, some of you actually need to do this like right when we get off of this. Maybe it's just yourself. Maybe you record a video of yourself expressing your full truth and you're voicing it and you're saying, yeah, some of you need to admit, I was hurt. Some of you need to admit, that was hard. Some of you need to admit, that wasn't okay. Some of you need to say some things, bring voice to some things, and you need to do it without any desire to change anything outside of you. It's just for the sake of expressing it. It's for the sake of letting your authenticity flow. And some of you that have been capping or blocking or stopping or preventing or holding back or keeping small your voice, you're going to be dipping your toe back in the water until you can jump back in that pool and just let it be who you are and what you're doing every day and how you're being every day. But as you're dipping that toe back in the water and actually expressing your truth and just speaking clearly from your heart to people, it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a process. But you're just letting yourself have the permission to share your voice and express yourself. And, some of you might unveil some areas in your life where that isn't supported. And maybe that's an indicator to you that there are definitely people on the planet that will support it. There's definitely people on the planet that will love it, and it'll be exactly what they need to hear. So this is a card, I don't think that's in this deck, but it's like floating in my mind's eye, which is you're not for everyone. That's something to really be aware of because, I don't know who this is going to resonate with, but someone here is like trying to get someone to understand them or trying to get someone to, I'm trying to feel into this. Okay. Like you want someone to understand you. You want someone to see your perspective. And once you kind of just like stop, once you let go of that and, you know what? Maybe this person's not going to see my perspective. And maybe that's totally fine. And okay. It doesn't mean stopping sharing your truth with those people. You keep doing it. It's going somewhere. Their chakras aren't all blocked or they wouldn't be here. So it's getting into their soul somewhere. And eventually it might manifest where they realize they weren't listening to you. They weren't letting you speak. They weren't letting you share. But we're not being attached to that happening. We're not getting attached to them understanding or them accepting us. Because, and I'm sure many of you have heard this like conundrum, this truth of this planet, but like those that are maybe out there looking for love, searching for their partner in life, whatever it is, they show up the second you let go. It's the truth. And those people that maybe aren't understanding you, the second you let go of them having to understand you, they might start understanding you. So know that. And, okay, anything else? There's another word on here I'm supposed to speak to. Okay. Persecution. This one's deep for me, so give me a second. Maybe a lot of the stuff we talked about in this one didn't resonate because like you just don't understand what it was in this life that made you not want to speak your truth. And that might be something deeper like persecution. So I'll be vulnerable and just be very full out with all of you like always, in that I had a very deep witch wound. I had a very, it's factual for me, you know, it might not be for you, but I remember the life where I was here and as a witch. And, you know, I was persecuted. But what I've healed very much is that aspect of me that was persecuted, because I am back on the planet. And this time it's going to be different. This time I'm going to know, yes, there's a threat of persecution. But am I going to stop carrying out my mission on the planet? Am I going to let go of this feeling that I have that if I do speak my truth, I'm going to be burned at the stake? Yeah, I'm going to let it go. Because it's not that time period. I'm really new now. I'm new. And you're new. And you're showing up to every moment. You have the ability to show up new. The soul is transformative and divine and whole and complete and willing to enter experiences knowing it will forget everything that it is. Think about that for a second. Your soul is so all-knowing, so all-powerful, so all-loving, that you're willing to come again and again and again to experiences where you're going to forget everything you are, knowing full well you'll remember. You'll remember. And we lift those veils, you know, little by little, gently, by maybe powerfully, but we let the veils go to see who we really are. We let the veils go so we can remember who we really are, so that we can share our voice again. And yeah, we might have to move through wounds like persecution, but we're strengthening every single second that we're allowing ourselves to be who we are, to have experienced what we experienced, and to be willing to show up again and again and again and share our voice. Yeah, it feels like that's the close. Okay. So thank you all for joining today. If you're not following me yet, I hope that you do. I'm really just here to bring some lightness to us, to channel divine messages that are, from my oversoul and from spirit and really from all of you as well. Because everything that you're witnessing in me is in you, and everything that you are, thank you, Bradley, everything that you're sifting through within yourself and allowing yourself to see and be with, every time that you're healing your own self, you are healing everyone else. Everyone else with that persecution wound, when you heal it in you, you're healing it in them. Everyone else that's dealing with insufferable anxiety, when you're healing it in you, you're healing it in them. Those people in your life that maybe you see as depressed or stuck or struggling or hurting or just suffering so badly, when you're healing that in you, you're healing it in them. So don't feel bad when you're healing yourself. Don't feel like you're doing something wrong when you're healing yourself. You're doing something for everyone when you're healing yourself, when you're loving yourself. That's the only way you can help them. I love you all so much. I'll post this on my YouTube in case you want to experience other portions or the whole entirety of it. Thank you, each and every single one of you, for being here. I felt all of your energy. It was delightful. I love you all. And I'll see you in the next one. Juicy breath in. Namaste. Juicy breath in. Namaste.